Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with great recordings you've never heard of. Oh, and boy, is this one that sort of vanished into the ether. No, look, the classical music tradition consists of about, 800 years worth of music? And tons of it has been recorded, and nobody can keep track of it all. And that's particularly true of what we call early music, particularly early vocal music. That is, the masses and motets and things that were written between, say, 1200 and 1600, like 400 years of stuff. And there's tons of it, just heaping piles of the stuff, just unbelievable amounts. And how do you make sense of this unless you're a real specialist? It's a problem. It's a problem because, frankly, the music is gorgeous. It's really worth listening to. And it's just as wide in style and personality and character as anything that came later, given the fact that it's almost entirely sacred music. It's sacred music, so you're not going to get things like, Strauss's Salome in a church. That just doesn't happen that way, right? But it still has a great range of mood, to the extent the church fathers would permit mood, and composers who were really experimenting and enjoying writing in the musical language as it had evolved to that point, which is really a lot. It did a lot of evolving, and nobody evolved more than Orlando de Lassus, or Roland, they call him now, because he was French, actually. Sometimes it's Orlando de Lasso or Roland Lassus or something. I don't know. The thing you got to know is Lassus, the Lassus part, or Lasso part. And he lived from 1532 to 1594. Such a happy period in European history. Oh my, there was so much going on. But that's not the point. The point is he wrote glorious music, piles of glorious music. And nothing more glorious than this particular recording of the Sibylline Prophecies and some assorted motets with the Vocalconsort Berlin under Daniel Reuss. Now, Daniel Reuss, Reuss, is a fantastic choral conductor. He's done, a bazillion fabulous recordings in Germany, mostly with those amazing chamber choirs that they have there. This is one of them. It's on the Accent label. And the reason I chose this recording particularly is because, I did a talk on the Sibylline Prophecies. And I've noticed that a bunch of them seem to be going out of print or disappearing. Big surprise, right? Who knows about them? Who knows what to think about them? Who plays them? Who listens to them? Nobody, right? Just about. And for that reason, recordings don't last long. But small labels, such as Accent, tend to hang on to their catalogs and keep things in print because they're sort of boutique-y. And that's a good thing. So they kind of hang around a little bit more. I don't know if this is still hanging, but I'm hoping. Anyway, in that talk about the Sibylline Prophecies, I mentioned the fact that they are remarkable works. They're believed to be early and somewhat experimental. They stand in Lassus's output, kind of like where Shostakovich's Fourth Symphony stands in his output. In other words, it's a large, extravagant, somewhat probing and modernist kind of piece, in a style that he later largely abandoned. Not abandoned entirely, but it has, for example, a lot of strange chromatic harmony, kind of like Gesualdo, if you know your Gesualdo, for you Gesualdians. In other words, the music is unexpected and surprising and very, very fresh. The text itself, the Sibylline Prophecies, are, another one of those efforts of the Christian church to sort of co-opt the old pagan, idea, like the Delphic oracle and things like that, that kind of stuff. So these are prophecies that foretell the coming of Christ and then various elements of Christian doctrine. But that's not the important thing. The important thing is the music. the wonderful thing about the fact that the words are kind of, well, mysterious is that you don't have to pay much attention to them. If you don't want to, you could just listen to the music, which is what I do when I hear these things. And oh my, they're just so, so beautiful. There's 13 of them. It's a magic number 13. And they're all called, well, there's a prologue, and then Sibylla Persica, Sibylla Libica, Sibylla Delphica, this is the Delphic oracle, Sibylla Cimeria, Sibylla Samia, Sibylla Cumana, that's the oracle at Cumae. Remember Claudius? He went to see the oracle at Cumae at the very beginning. Yeah. Sibylla Hellespontica, Sibylla Phrygia, Sibylla Europaca, etc., 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 ending with Sibylla Agrippa. And these are short works, by the way. They're between like a bit more than a minute and then maybe 2 minutes and a bit long. So they're compact, but just full of incredibly juicy music. And the wonderful thing about this recording, which is with the Vocalconsort Berlin, by the way, which is just an amazing group, is that you also get a bunch of motets. And some of these motets, well, 2 of them at least, are included in their Christmas motets. And Poulenc set them in his Christmas motets. And those may be more familiar to some of you. The first is Quem vidistis pastores. Remember that one? Quem vidistis pastores dicite annunciate nobis in terris quisa para. I didn't sing the whole thing. I sang them. I mean, you may have guessed. And also Videntes stellam. Videntes stellam, videntes stellam, magi. Well, anyway, that's Poulenc. That's not Lassus. But you may know the texts, and you've got them for comparison, which is fun. I mean, it's something you can do to hear the difference in style from the 1930s and 40s and the 15 whatevers. Really kind of amazing. 400 years difference, same text, different music. Really fun to have some intense listening. And I love intense listening. It's just wonderful. So this is, the other wonderful thing about this particular disc or these works, I mean, the Sibylline Prophecies, is that, one of the problems with this period is that there's a lot of the same stuff, right? You've got 5 trillion mass settings and a bazillion motet settings. So one of the best ways to get into it, to sort of get your bearings and, be selective and figure out how to be selective, is to pick works which are special, which are different, which set texts that not everybody else was doing at the same time, so that you can actually focus on the music and this particular marriage of words and music. And so the Sibylline Prophecies, like, for example, some of the Gesualdo Tenebrae responsories and some other works like that, Talus's motet, the 40-voice motet, Spem and Allium, we talk about these because they give you an entree. They give you a way to sort of focus on the stylistics of the period. And if you like what you hear, then, the floodgates can open and you can get whatever you want. I mean, you could just listen and listen and listen and listen endlessly because there's so much of it. So anyway, give this a shot. Here it is. Daniel Royce, the Vocalconsort Berlin, doing Lassus, or Lasso, depending on how you want to do it, his Prophetiae Sibyllarum, or Sibylline Prophecies. Oh, wow, what an incredibly cool musical moment this represents. You won't want to miss it. So keep on listening, friends, and thanks for joining me. Take care.